So, when we communicate with other people, we usually have a positive intention. You know, we don't set out to be difficult or awkward or unpleasant, do we? No. So, we usually have a positive intention, but sometimes the way we come across can have a negative impact on the people we're communicating with. And then there's an influence gap, a gap between what we intended by our behaviour and the impact we've actually had and the influence we've achieved. So one example of this for me personally, I live in Chester, towards the north of England. My mother used to live in Cardiff, which is about 150 miles away. I would ring my mother. My intention in ringing my mother was to show her that I cared about her. But usually something would come up in the conversation, we'd have a bit of a disagreement, and we'd end up putting the phone down, and afterwards I think, no, that didn't go as I wanted it to go. I didn't really show I cared about her. We've had a disagreement sort of thing. So I had to rethink how I behaved in those conversations. So I just want you to take a couple of minutes to think about a time when maybe you have had that same situation where your impact hasn't been what you intended, and then maybe you didn't get the results that you wanted. So I'd like you to think about that, and just for a couple of minutes, share it perhaps in pairs with the person next to you. So a situation where you haven't had the impact that you intended to have, this comes in. So closing that influence gap really requires three things. We need to know how our behaviour is experienced by others. We need to be able to recognise and manage the emotions driving our behaviour. And we need to be able to pick up accurate cues from other people about their thoughts and feelings, so we behave in an appropriate way. Simple? Not easy, no. So I'm not going to do masses of research, but three bullet points. So that first point, knowing how your behaviour is experienced by others. Sun and Vizia last year at the University of California did a study, and one of their conclusions was people don't even know when they're being considerate versus rude. That's their words, not mine. So we don't even know how our impact is, whether we're being considerate or rude, which is pretty shocking, really. Second bit there, Lisa Feldman-Barrett. Has anyone come across Lisa Feldman-Barrett? She's a neuroscientist in the States. She wrote that book over there, How Emotions Are Made, The Secret Life of the Brain. And one of the things she says is emotions are your brain's best guesses of what your bodily sensations mean. So if your face goes red, your brain rapidly tries to work out, why has my face gone red? And then depending on the situation, it might be just that you're hot, or you're angry, or you're embarrassed, or whatever. But that's her belief. And then David Eagleman. Anyone heard of David Eagleman? He's been on TV in the UK anyway, yeah, a few people. Yeah, American neuroscientist. It's hard to pick up accurate cues from others about their thoughts and feelings. And as he said, perception of others is prone to error. So actually, it's really difficult to be emotionally intelligent and close that influence gap with those things.